this may not be that reading. This may not be the right reading for you. Everyone else, especially those that do the challenges and stuff, this is massive. And it feels bigger than a week, because I think whatever happens this week has lasting repercussions, not in a bad way. Doesn't have to be. Remember, there's no good or bad. If we're going through that, we're going to go through good. Like, we're going to go through everything. Then it all merges together in that sweet spot in the middle. So, Tower, hey? So we got the Tower coming up here as an underlying energy, and that's it. That this is the shocking change. This is oh bloody hell. I mean, I'm getting all sorts of stuff coming through around this. My stomach feels kind of weird as well. This energy is massive in this reading. So yes, the Tower. The Tower is a shocking change, but it's where we're freed. This is the freedom to surrender to your soul's path. That's how I'm seeing this. It's the freedom to surrender to your soul's path, and it will free you to go in the direction that you're meant to be going in for that experience. And I say meant to, we decide it ourselves. We decide it ourselves. Why do we make peace with the past? The Six of Cups. And I know I'm jumping around all over the place, bear with me. But you know, why did we make peace with our past? Why? To be able to move forward, right? To be able to move forward. So it wasn't holding us back. So we weren't plagued with things like, you know, unforgiveness or resentments or all of that kind of stuff. The Six of Cups. And that's innocence. The Six of Cups is innocence. But that's the past. So that's good. I like that the Six of Cups coming up there, because the Six of Cups is nostalgia, a gift from the past. This might be an old dream that you had that you thought you couldn't do. This might have been something that you considered, I don't know. So maybe when I was 15, I wanted to, 9 years old, I wanted to be an archaeologist. Maybe it's that. And now maybe that example that I gave, my YouTube channel dies. People just say, screw Jay, forget her. You know, I get boycotted, all sorts of stuff, which would be the Tower, right? Shocking, because everything that I've built, my business, Aquarian Insight, if it just all demolished and fell apart, that'd be shocking. But I am that way, but so I can imagine myself doing that, which would be, all right, cool, so that's done. Where am I going next? Because I would believe that it's freeing me. It'd be shocking, don't trust me, there'd be some tears, but with the Tower coming up, that it's now freed me to go where I'm meant to be going, where I've decided I want to go. Let's get one. I want to get one more, that underline, especially with that Tower there. So you can go plant a new seed. So you can go do something else, start off again, building that foundation from scratch. You know, that's what collapses. So if some of you are already dealing with that, I know for a lot of people, that Tower has been constant. 2019, I've had a few people tell me that it feels like their lives are the Tower falling apart in slow motion, like one break at a time. I actually believe it's a series, a chain of towers going off in all different areas, and it's liberating you and it's freeing you so that you can go on this new adventure, so you can go and have this new experience. That's what the Knight of Wands does. But the Knight of Wands is in the moment, so no pressure. But this week, things that you free yourself from, the directions that you choose to go in, and you know, the Knight of Wands is always going to go in a new direction, and the seeds that you sow, you don't know what could come of them. They could be massive. You go into something massive. Take a moment. Now, that Six of Cups in the past, that could be a blank card there. And I've been seeing the Death, I've been seeing Six of Cups, I've been seeing those cards like that in the past, which to me it's blank. Now, that's interesting, because if we say the Six of Cups is, hey, I made my peace with my past, this is like, I remember the happy memories from the past, the dreams I had in the past, but I'm not plagued by, you know, resentments and all that kind of stuff. And the Eight of Cups also says we're leaving it behind, right? Look at that, everything's left behind. And the Moon in the present effectively blanks out the future. Blanked it out. Think about it. There's only shadows ahead. We don't know what's coming up ahead when the Moon shows up. And the Page of Swords tells us that when we go to the future, that's when we get the information that we need. Where are we? What's left? Where we are right now, right? Where we are right now, with the past blanked out, things left behind, with the Moon coming up here, you know, the future blanked out. It's a very interesting read. That's why I kind of looked at it and thought, whoa, that is a big read that's coming through there. So yes, Six of Cups, made our peace with it. Eight, and I know not everyone has, but I think that's a statement from all the work that you've done this year, last year, last 10 years. I spoke to someone who's been in this shit since the 60s a few weeks ago. So, all of that work that you've done, where's it left us? What's at the heart of this reading? Made our peace with the past, but how many of us were still settling? Because this person's not settling now. They walk off. Now, usually when I see this, when I use this deck and this woman's here, and there's another deck that there's a child that's left behind with the Eight of Cups. That's, just because we're done with something, we realize we don't want to settle. We don't become jaded and cynical. We don't leave just our innocence there. And one person's trash is another person's treasure. I see that here as well, because she's come to look at the cups. He put blood, sweat, and tears into this, but he didn't want it. He thought, no, not worth it for me. But it might be worth something for her. So, and the reason I say that is around gratitude. When people say, oh, you should be grateful, which you shouldn't be anything, you just are or you aren't. If you can't be, that doesn't mean I should just be grateful, doesn't mean just suck it up and stay put. Oh, you're lucky, if you've got a job and, you don't like it, you don't enjoy it. But someone says, oh, you're lucky you've got a job, just be grateful that you've got a job. That means, yeah, I would say yes, go into work and be grateful that you get paid and the rest of it. But that doesn't mean just stay put and settle for it. That's not what being grateful means. Grateful is for the step that you're at. And that's the big message here. The step that you're at. Where are you right now? What's going on right now? Don't worry about the past. The future is, we don't even know. What are you leaving behind right now? What are you done with right now? Because this card holds both those things, the 8 cups that we're leaving behind, but also the promise of the 9th cup that he's going off to find. So apply that. We could basically reduce this reading down to the 8 of cups. Which, think about it. He's surrendered to his soul's path, even though he's got 8 cups. He's gone and looked for the 9th cup. Now, he's surrendering to divine timing. What does that mean? It means he's not just standing there waiting for someone to hand him a 9th cup. He knows I have to take action. When I'm ready for this, there's things that I must do. And so I'm not going to stay here with what I'm settling for. I will go out on this journey, Knight of Wands, and I will go and explore. And I know, I'm not impatient. I'm not desperate for it. I know it's out there for me. And I know that journey to go and look for my 9th cup. Go for what you want. You will get what you need. The journey to go look for my 9th cup is going to be what I need. It's the mission. It's the quest for the 9th cup is what I need, not the 9th cup. Does that make sense? That's the main message for this week, the 8 cups. Because that's what's happening emotionally. It's happening emotionally. So be prepared for with that Tower, some inner shake-ups. Be prepared for, with that Knight of Wands, that you may want to change direction. Be prepared that things that you found value in before, you may not find value in them. And this all will come from your feelings. From your feelings. Or your spiritual path, or your intuition, but all of that deep inner stuff that we feel. And look at that, the moon coming up here. That's your intuition. That is your intuition. But there's shadows ahead. So why do we do that? Why do we walk the path? And that might be the case. Before we head in that new direction, and that's, you can't make this shit up. The full moon, right? That's going to happen this week. The full moon, that may reveal something that you're done with, and then the shocking realization is that, oh, well, okay, I'm done with that. Let me go in another direction. But the new direction, you'll be afraid, and it's okay to be afraid, because when there's shadows around, everything you built, whether it's inwardly, and what do I mean by that? Sometimes we call it strength, that we're endurance. I'm strong, I can endure this, I show up and I do what needs to be done. And what does that mean? It just means you're settling. means you're not honoring yourself, that there's something better out there for you. I was actually watching this in between readings, and I did the Scorpio season challenge. That was kind of big, so I took a little break, got something to eat, and then I was watching a little clip of a Matt Kahn video. I think it was Matt Kahn, and someone asked him a question about if everything is divine. If everything is divine, if we're divine, why do we need to change? Like, what's this need for growth and change and stuff? And he said, because that is the nature of divinity. That is what makes divinity perfect, in that it is always changing and growing. Now, he didn't say it quite that way, but that's in between what he was saying and what I was hearing. That's the dialogue that was going on inside of me, which makes sense, right? That infinity, the light and the dark, the good and the bad, and it goes forever. Infinity, and we're infinite. No beginning, no end. That's what infinite means. And I'm going to say it again, it's a very big reading that's coming in. So if we're always moving, if we're always changing, and we're always growing, and we are, change isn't easy. That's where we feel disruption. Why do we have the Tower? Because the Tower is one of the big 5 cards of change. Because the Fool got stuck. He stopped here. He's gone through the whole journey of, up until this is number 16, the Tower. And before it was the Devil. He met the Devil and he got stuck. Because it was temptation. Oh, it's tempting in that Tower. I don't have to wander around by myself outside. It's got all the kind of gadgets that I want. All the, I'm warm in here. There's food. There's wine. There's company. There's people. Why would I ever move? Because it's our nature to keep growing and changing. And to have new experiences. But this is not the normal version of that. We do that every day. I do that every day. I'm sure you do as well. I hear from a lot of you that always changing, always growing, always observing yourself, seeing how you react, how your reactions change, and the different things that happen within us. This feels much bigger than that, especially with those cards coming up. But you won't know where you're going, so that's going to be the biggest challenge. If you know what you're not settling for, you're off to go look for that 9th cup. But the moon comes up and it's like, well, maybe that Tower then represents your fears and doubts that come in. Why am I afraid of this? I've got nothing left to go back to. 6 of Cups, Tower, all of that says that. I don't want to go back to anything. I'm done with settling with stuff. So doesn't it feel for a moment like a rock in a hard place? A rock in a hard place. Let's get one for that 8 of Cups. I really don't know what other cards could come out. It's as a reader, I love readings like this, but they don't come up too often, and there's a reason for that, because they're so big. Where's the 8 of Cups there? Yeah, look at the shedding that's going on. Look at the shedding that's going on. The Tower falls, so you can come. Can you imagine? You're in that Tower. This guy and that horse is in that Tower. That's a trap. That is a jail. That is a prison. Doesn't matter how beautiful and lush and gilded and lovely it is. It's a prison. And so you bet your ass when that Tower falls, he's out galloping, as fast as he can go. But that does say on a very human level, I'm getting all excited because I love stuff like that. But it isn't exciting for everyone. And it's internal. And don't forget, the Tower may be an epiphany, an aha moment, something that we realized, understanding. It could be something, I don't know, you've been with that person for 20 years. And then they say something so rude to you in the morning. I know someone that's happened to. Their partner said something so rude to them in front of their kid. And it occurred to them that, oh my God, that, I allowed this person to speak to me that way in front of my kid. And so I'm teaching my kid that it's okay to be spoken to in that way. That's a Tower moment. When nothing's the same. When now Knight of Wands has to come in. No more enduring it. It's like, right, either we go for therapy, either we figure out how we talk to one another, we have to make complete changes, or we get a divorce, or we do something. Like, there has to be some action that comes out of this. It's at an emotional level. It's an emotional epiphany that we have. So you know what you won't settle for. Look at that. The burden, the struggle. You think of that example that I just gave. That's the struggle. And so out of that struggle, out of that burden that this person's being, they drop that's being spoken to in that way, you know, traumatizing the kid, you know, being good parents, whatever this person's been carrying. And out of that is, what is my passion now? What am I inspired to do? I am inspired to, first and foremost, be a good example for my child, to get the respect that I deserve, how I'm honored. That is my inspiration. That's all I choose to take from this. And from that, that's how I will plant the seeds. That's what I plan to do now. Any seed that I plant is going to be in line with that inspiration that I have, which I learned from carrying that burden. I know I'm breaking it down a lot, but I feel like I have to, so you'll have to bear with me, people that don't like long, tedious readings. That's how the message is. And it feels very important to me to make sure that you understand it. And understand that too is part of the message if it's coming through in that bit massive way. So let's have a look at why the moon is in the present. I don't know about you, but I'm loving this message. I'm loving it. And interesting, if you've heard me talk about the elementals, the water one is usually the one that has the biggest, that I ponder on the most. Not always, but I'd say 70 to 80% of the time it's the water message that makes me think the most. Let's see, the moon. Why is the moon in the present? So not only are we emotionally we know that's what the Eight of Cups is. I'm done with this. I don't want to feel that way anymore. I've got nothing left to give emotionally to this. I'm off to go find my heart's desire. That comes from our inspiration, for our passion, right? And then we have the Eight of Swords coming up here with the moon. And that's what it represents. That's what I kind of feel like that's the big thing to face this week. It's maybe the pressure to pick a path. But you know it. Because the Knight of Wands, that 10 of Wands, especially in this deck, with that guy holding on to that ace, the 10 takes us back to the ace, right? What's my inspiration? What gets me excited? What am I enthusiastic about? Doesn't matter how much shit I've carried to get here. Doesn't matter how much I've invested emotionally and stuff. What am I into now? And it may have been when I was a kid, something before the loss of innocence, an old dream that comes up, maybe. But am I excited about it now? And as soon as you own it, as soon as you say, yes, I want to go there, I'm going on that adventure, or that's what inspires me, or that's what I'm done with, this is what I'm going to do, you bet your ass this comes up. Because you don't know where to take it. You don't know which direction to take it in. And so I think the full moon helps with that, to show us where we are. But where we're going, yeah, we don't know. And it's emphasized here. If the moon is our fears and doubts and it reveals what our fears and doubts are, the Eight of Swords is going to highlight it even more. So it feels like a facing down of fears. And that's probably going to be around, getting hurt, losing out, or, all of that very human stuff that comes up within people. Now, I want to be clear. This is not for water signs. This is for all signs. The element of water, represented by Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, they hold that energy. And we all hold that energy somewhere. We all channel that energy. We're all sharing that energy with each other. That this is the message from that. Wherever that water hits us. And you might have, I don't even know, like I'm trying to think, my 8th house, Cancer, so that traditionally, yes, it's the 4th house, but for me, it's my 8th. So it may be that I'm looking at those houses of mine and thinking, okay, well, I have water houses anyway, so it makes it easier. But, that thing of, well, this is how it's affecting me. So maybe it's around my work, how I feel about work now. But I think it's big. I think it affects everything. You get the Tower out of the gate. It affects everything. Sorry, let's get one more. I love this. You cannot make this shit up. So what did I say to you? It's where you are right now. Where you are right now. You don't know where you're going. Forget the past. You made your peace with it. It's done. Nothing can be done around that. But that's where you think, well, I can't do that. When it comes to your next step, and don't forget the Knight of Wands is passionate and goes for it. And he's in the moment as well. And when you get this energy, it's like, well, I don't know what to do. I can't do that. I'm too old. I'm too young. I can't start another career now. I can't. I'm too old to leave this relationship. I'm too overweight. I can't go apply for that job yet. They make you wear a uniform, and I don't want to wear a uniform because I'm overweight. I'll wait till I'll lose some weight first, then I'll go for that. That's all that shit. The Eight of Swords. And if you're scared about what to expect, because it's big, it's a tower, there's nothing to go with. And don't forget, what's the card that comes in after the tower? The Star. The fated path, the destiny that we pick. This card says, well, if you're looking towards your expectations, what to expect, because we all want a little bit of insight of what's coming up, your actions will determine your expectations. Expectations must be based of your actions. They must be based off your actions. That's why he comes up here. Massive fire energy coming in. We're not even in Sagittarius season yet. So we've got that. So don't worry about that. That's actually takes the pressure off with the Three of Wands, saying that, look, whatever you do, your expectation will be based on that. So what are you going to do? Worry about what you do first, not when it will come in, how's it going to come in, what's ahead on this path. That's massive amounts of faith needed to do that. And that's why we have faith in ourselves, faith in our ability to navigate the path, faith in our ability to shine our light so bright that we light up the shadows and reveal what's in them. And that is the Six of Wands. Shining your light. But let me see. Oh gosh. I was actually doing that for the Six of Wands. Okay. So we've got the Page of Swords here, and the Page of... I'll talk about that in a moment, but with the Page of Swords coming up here, that's where I think we get our information. Because the Page of Swords is, you'll get the news or you'll get the information, but it lacks context. So we ask questions, we research, we find out more as we go forward, but we need to go forward first. Let's get one more. There you go. Queen of Swords, Page of Swords in the future. That's when your mind is at ease. That's when you know what your truth is. And also the Queen of Swords reassures you that you know what your truth is. That's all you need to go forward and speak your truth. You'll find out what you need to find out as you go along. That's not the point of this. The point of what you're doing now is figuring out what's your heart into. What is it that you're called towards? What is it that you want? Despite what your mind is telling you of your fears and doubts. What is it that you are inspired to go for? That just calls to you, that you see it's a new path, something new to explore. Because think of this. If the Six of Cups is here and we've got the Six of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles sat underneath it, if you made your peace with the past, truly made your peace with the past, done the work, right, as the Knight of Pentacles would suggest, then you've got everything that you need. That's the Six of Wands. That is pride in who you are. Stepping up and being recognized for everything that you've done. For all the burdens that you've carried. For all the bloody towers that you've cleared out of the way. The rubble of the towers, right? For everything that you left behind. Then this isn't something that you have to do. It's something that you get to do. I get to do this. This is a reward almost, like it feels like. That we went through all of this to free ourselves, to liberate ourselves from ego or from limiting self-beliefs or old behavioral patterns or whatever you want to say, or settling for things. Not honoring ourselves, whatever it's been. Because isn't that what she represents? Learning from everything that's happened to us? I've got that song in my head, and I don't remember what it's called now. But it's that one that says "Welcome to the New World." That's what this feels like. That's what this feels like, and that's your advice. Take it one step at a time. That's the Knight of Pentacles. The downside of the Knight of Pentacles is that he wants a perfect plan. He wants a perfect plan. He wants to know every step from here until he gets there. And it's like, mate, we don't know. Especially if you're going in a new direction with the Knight of Wands. One step at a time. The next step will be revealed as you go through it. But trust that you've gone through so much that you've learned that you have the ability. You showed what you were made of. 5 of Wands, right? To be able to get that recognition. The Queen of Swords. You bet she knows how to make a decision. At any moment, she'll make a decision.